Your boss says something unfair in a meeting. You say nothing. You sit there, you process it, you nod, you move on. 3 hours later, you walk through the front door and your kid leaves a cup on the counter and you explode. You hear yourself yelling and you think, "What is wrong with me?" By the end of this, you'll know exactly why this happens, and it has nothing to do with how much you love your kid. This is not a one-time thing. It is a pattern you have watched yourself repeat so many times you stopped being surprised by it. The people who push you hardest during the day see nothing from you. Professional, calm, controlled. The people who do almost nothing wrong at home get the explosion, and the math is backwards. The worse the day at work, the worse the reaction at home. A terrible meeting turns into yelling over a spilled drink. An unfair comment from your boss turns into a meltdown over a toy left on the floor. You know it is coming and you still cannot stop it. Here's what is actually happening. Self-control is not unlimited. It is not a personality trait. It is a resource. Every time you suppress a reaction at work, your brain spins fuel. When someone cuts you off in traffic and you do not honk, when your boss criticizes you unfairly and you smile and say, "You will fix it," when you sit through a meeting that should have been an email and do not say a word. Every single one of those moments costs something. And by the time you get home, the tank is almost empty. The part of your brain that controls impulse is called the prefrontal cortex. It sits right behind your forehead. It is the part that makes you pause before you speak. It is the part that stops you from saying what you are actually thinking. It is the part that keeps you professional when you want to walk out. And it runs on glucose, literal fuel. Every act of suppression burns through that fuel. Every smile you fake, every reaction you swallow, every time you stay quiet when you want to scream. All of it drains the same tank. By the time you walk through the door at home, that tank is close to empty. Your prefrontal cortex is exhausted. It has been working non-stop for 8 or 9 or 10 hours. And when your kid does something small, something that on a good day would not even register, your brain does not have the fuel left to stop the reaction. The explosion is not a choice. It is what happens when the system that controls impulse runs out of power. This is not a character flaw. This is a design problem. You were not built to suppress reactions for 8 straight hours and then be patient at home. Nobody was. The brain was designed for short bursts of control in high-stakes moments, a predator, a conflict, a threat. It was never designed for back-to-back meetings, where you have to nod and smile while someone talks over you. It was never designed for holding your tongue 40 times in one day because your paycheck depends on it. Modern work depletes the system faster than it can recover. And here's the other part. Your brain is not random about where it sends the anger. It calculates risk. When your boss says something unfair, your brain runs an instant assessment. This person controls your income. This person controls your reputation. This person has power over your survival. The risk of responding is too high, so the anger gets suppressed. It does not disappear, it gets stored. And your brain starts looking for a safe place to release it. Your kid is safe, not because you do not love them, because your brain knows they will not fire you. They will not leave you. They do not have the power to hurt you the way your boss does. So when the prefrontal cortex is too tired to stop the reaction, your brain picks the target with the lowest risk. That is why you stay silent at work and explode at home. Your brain is protecting your paycheck and your social standing, and it is using your family as the release valve. This is called displaced aggression. The target of the anger is not the cause of the anger. The cup on the counter is not the problem. The toy on the floor is not the problem. They are just the spark that ignites a tank of fuel that was filled at work. Your kid did not make you angry. Your boss did. Your coworker did. The meeting did. The traffic did. Your kid just happened to be there when the system ran out of brakes. And the worst part is that yelling does not actually help. It feels like release in the moment, but it does not clear the anger. It reinforces it. Every time you lose control, you build a neural pathway that makes it easier to lose control again. Your brain starts to learn that home is the place where control is optional. And the guilt you feel afterwards drains even more energy, which makes you more vulnerable the next day. It becomes a cycle. Depletion leads to outburst. Outburst leads to guilt. Guilt leads to more depletion, and the cycle repeats. So, what breaks the cycle? Not trying harder to be patient at home. That is treating the symptom. The root cause is not happening at home. It is happening at work. The explosion at home is just the evidence that you spent the entire day suppressing reactions you were never supposed to suppress. That many times in a row. If you want to stop yelling at your kid, you have to stop burning all your fuel before you get home. That does not mean quit your job. It means stop pretending that self-control is infinite. It means recognizing that every time you fake a smile or swallow a response, you are spending from a tank that will be empty by the time you walk through your front door. Some of those moments are worth it. Some are not. The goal is not to stop controlling yourself. It is to stop spending control on things that do not matter. And when you do get home and you feel the anger rising, label it out loud. Say, "I am loaded from work." That one sentence does something your brain can use. It creates distance between the feeling and the action. It reminds the part of you that is still online that this reaction is not about the cup. It is about the 10 hours that came before the cup. And that distance is sometimes enough to stop the explosion before it starts. The other thing that works is refueling the tank before you walk in the door. 5 minutes in the car with your eyes closed. 10 minutes walking around the block. Anything that lets your prefrontal cortex recover even a little bit before you are asked to be patient again. You are not avoiding your family. You are making sure they get a version of you that has enough fuel left to be the parent you want to be. This is not about being a better person. You are not a bad person. You are a depleted person. And depletion looks like anger. It looks like losing control over small things. It looks like hating yourself for yelling at someone you love. But it is not a moral failure. It is a system running out of fuel. And the fix is not more willpower. It is less depletion. So why do you stay silent at work and yell at your kid? Because self-control is a finite resource that depletes across the day. Your boss gets you at full. Your kid gets you at empty. And your brain redirects anger to the safest available target because it is protecting your survival. The explosion is not about your kid. It is about the fuel you burned before you ever saw them.